This thumbnail couldn't even last me a week. Isn't the point of being a Deltarune fan that speculation you have at least lasts a year and then like you just like shove little things into eras? I would like to apologize for a continuous and severe lapse in my judgment. Hey fellas, Onus here and welcome back to With a Y, and we have like somehow some major Deltarune like lore news. I want to be clear, this dropped like a few hours ago. I'm recording this at the dead of dawn, and the only reason I'm awake right now is because of cat-related shenanigans, which feels prescient somehow. But recently I made a video called Image_fraud that basically talked about how Image Friend just had nothing to do in this chapter other than some like minor appearances and references, and Toby couldn't even let me get the ad rev off of that for like a few days. Roughly 2 hours ago, as of recording this, a Deltarune patch got pushed through, and usually these things are like pretty standard fare. It's like fixing soft locks, it's addressing glitches and things that got missed during playtesting. But under text changes, there was a very specific addition made. The shop in the cliffs has new dialogue in an extremely obscure circumstance. New dialogue has been added to Deltarune from my understanding, but it is an exceedingly rare occurrence, and from what I can tell is very rare to do this soon after a chapter has come out. People pretty much immediately data mined what the text was, but for the sake of dramatics, I would like to tell you what the conditions are and then read it in the actual scene as opposed to just looking at the code. For those who need a refresher, this is Shop 3 from the Cliffs. This was being run by Mad Mew Mew before she actually had her boss encounter with you after you get like the 10 pink coins. And if you don't know her whole deal, it's basically like she's a lightener and a darkener inside of one. She's like a lightener who has like the body of her dreams actually come into reality after she's in the dark world, but there is like a darkener aspect of it. The conditions you need to do in order to be able to do this are you need to first have the secret egg from chapter 5 done. And if you don't know what that is, basically full spoilers at this point. I feel like if you're watching this video, that was pretty clear. You need to run past this one piece of wheat over and over again until like a blue balloon shows up, and then you need to follow the blue balloon to like its natural endpoint, and then it takes you to the annoying dog room. Toby is literally in this shit showing you the path that you need to take and how to activate the flowers to activate the actual egg room. But once you get there, the final egg room completes. And there you have your egg, okay? And then the main subject of this video is Image Friend, someone I was recently calling a fraud, and while I think it's too soon to say if I was like completely wrong about or like say exactly what everything that's happening in here means, there has been some pretty interesting speculation on the subject coming out. That is all to say, you need to activate the friend event in this chapter in order to get this dialogue as well. In order to do that, you basically have to be at this section of the cliffs where you're like jumping up and down, go all the way to the top, jump to the right, hold the act button, and then like activate on friend over here. I don't know the exact math, but like he basically puts your party down to 1 HP. I think it's like it, but if you've met those two requirements, these are the new lines of dialogues that you get. You go back to the shop at the cliffs, and this is what it shows you. Suddenly, the shopkeeper's body took your hand and talked in a low voice only you could hear. Chris, is your hand okay? It looks like you've got a cat bite, Mew. From what I can tell, this is the darkener aspect, like the literal body of Mew Mew talking to you. And as a darkener, they have some more privileged information than Mew Mew might have directly. Cats can be nasty creatures, can't they? Mew? I'm gonna say every Mew. I once met someone who really liked cats. Mew? They liked cats so much they owned a whole hunting pack of them. Mew? Of course, cats are fickle creatures, but they were very good at finding protein. Chris, if you have any protein, you must keep it hidden and never let anyone see it. The cats are not too smart, but once they find a target, they never stop chasing it until they get bored. And when they find you, they bite very hard. Some people would do anything to get away from them, even change their appearance or go into hiding. Oh, Chris, it's terrible, Mew. It's terrible. Please be careful, Chris. Promise. Don't ask Chris to make a promise, bro. That shit is fucked up, bro. Like, do you know who you're asking that to? That is like damn near evil. Huh? What? Why am I trembling? Was my body saying something? Hey, don't have any conversations without me. Communication is key, right, body? Body? That is like pretty explicitly in reference to Image Friend, in my personal opinion. If anybody was looking for more Chris is gonna lose a hand during the Deltarune story theory evidence, then I feel like that is just a lot of it served up to you on a platter, man. And people have been having like takeaways from this that I wouldn't have even thought to think of. The main one being, did Toby Fox just confirm that Friend isn't one entity, but dozens of little caster minions set to undo or destroy any problems? Is Gaster Gru? Is he Despicable Him? This image might have already existed, but if it did, my god, was it prescient. Just Gaster has Thrag with a fuck ton of friends as minions, man, and he's wearing ERAM as a cape. Again, I'm not hard committing to any conclusions right now because I'm literally recording this 2 hours after the update dropped, but there's a lot of evidence to suggest that the idea of Friend is more of like a conglomerate hive mind than it is like one individual master manipulator operating from behind the scenes. Like, if you remember during the Shadow Mantle / ERAM boss fight, the main way you got heals during that was this motherfucker just casting little friends out to just harass you, and then if you stabbed them, you'd get some healing. And it explains why there could be a bunch of different iterations of them, like where one is red in Chapter 5 versus pink and gold and all the rest. You had people already ripping the fan art on this shit. Storky over here. They liked cats so much they owned a whole hunting pack of them. Actually, I don't think this is fan art. I think this is just an appropriate stock photo of just how many cats could be hiding in a field that you'd never notice if they didn't have the weird thing with their eyes that makes them reflective and shit. You had some people inferencing that like this is just really strong Death Knight evidence, which, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like that is the entire game pointing to it personally, and if that's not the case, that's totally fine. I'm happy to see where the story goes. But in this particular instance, oh, December holiday, you are so the roaring night. Some people would do anything to get away from them, even change their appearance or go into hiding. The thing that makes this entire situation really odd is the timing of it, because this feels like such a huge lore drop that if discovered during the game's launch would have just been everywhere on Twitter at the start. And maybe that's the reason why it didn't get released. Toby wanted people to be focused on like the core of the gameplay. And now that it's 2 weeks on, the real diehards can go a little insane over it. But Essie of Broster fame had something to chime in with. Toby saw the image fraud allegations and had to intervene. Okay, listen, I know that was the literal name of my video, but I did not come up with the name image fraud on my own. Not only would I not want to take credit for this, because I think this had to have been more deliberate than anything that could have involved me in a reaction to community stuff this soon after the launch of Chapter 5, but it's such a commitment to previously esoteric parts of the Deltarune lore / theory building community that seem absolutely insane if like they weren't thought of ahead of time. You had the typical I'm so fucking scared right now posting from the likes of Asum. Basically the sort of thing you felt like when Chapter 5 was about to launch and you weren't sure what exactly was going to be inside, and I maintain a healthy amount of fear for whatever Toby's about to put me through next. It's pretty much traditional at this point, but I think this inclusion is actually quite good for Mew Mew's justification in the narrative as a Shadow Crystal boss. I always thought that, like, from what I'd seen of the boss fight, still haven't beat it myself, I'm gonna do that on my replay. There was a lot of fun, like, thematic and narrative stuff that made me appreciate Mew Mew's inclusion, but I did still feel kind of like it was maybe a bit out of place, out of step. Instead of, like, all the build-ups being to, like, a cat secret boss and Ralsei lampshading the idea of a new friend at the secret boss store, giving her this direct connection to what Image Friend might truly be by the time everything is revealed is really fucking cool. Like, you had people who were a bit disappointed by it, like, seeing this new info and being like, okay, the cats are not too smart, but once they find a target, they never stop chasing it until they get bored. Like, fucking evil shit, man. He's taunting us. He might be outside my window right now. Camellia is an artist who I'm a fan of and who worked on some of the tracks on this chapter, specifically my favorite one, Flower Man. I said some bullshit the other day that could have just been them trolling, but I feel like it's kind of fun to bring up here, even if that is the case. 6 and 7. Very, very interesting. A man who speaks in hands, both palms up and alternate moving up and down. Yeah, fuck off, dude. Fuck off. But the idea that Friend is like a hive mind and there's like a bunch of this little fucking guy just running all over the place does kind of put into stark relief a bunch of earlier theories we had. Like, when Spampton talked to whoever he had the contract with on the phone and then, like, got snatched because he wanted to bring Tenna in on the deal, does that mean he literally just got? From Cat the Cybervamp, did he just literally get a hit put on him for signing the deal with Tenna? OMG, your ex has been hiding from the Cheshire Cat from hell for like 10 years. And coming off of the Spampton is scared as fuck of Friend, even if they have like the same colored eyes as glasses shit, to tie in with the idea that he's just been on the run from them. Both the Dealmaker and True Tie give protection against Cat. By the way, Spampton was fucking terrified of this thing, as well as the mannequin that's literally in the shape of Spampton, or at least an Addison more generally. Here's some more shitpost stuff. From Soda GG's, Chapter 6 egg room that we shouldn't look for. There is not a man here anymore, but there was. Friend ate him. He had a hit put out on him. There's also the idea that anytime that we've seen Friend, it wasn't necessarily for us to run into them. They were waiting on someone else, maybe. In the basement with Spampton, were they really waiting for us, or were they waiting for the guy who was trying to crawl his way into the fucking Neo body? The idea that these things could literally be everywhere is really interesting, in my opinion, but it also opens, like, the idea that, like, so many different people that have, like, tenuous connections to friends so far could have had interactions with them as, like, a force as opposed to an individual. And Ironic over here pointed out, oh my god, this is why Friend looks like Endogeny. There's multiple of them. If you don't remember, Endogeny was like an amalgamate who was made up of multiple dead dog monsters, but just like kind of splooshed together. And the most clear Friend sprite we've seen has like the same shape as it, but instead of its legs looking like dogs, they look like cats. From Emerald, what if the tail of hell taking crawl is when the huge Endogeny Friend is formed? I have no fucking clue, man, but that is incredibly terrifying. Could you stop theory crafting in front of me? It makes me really nervous. Some people, like Cerise over here, have posited the idea that if this is 2 weeks after Deltarune Chapter 5 came out, they're just like adding some, what seems like pretty significant dialogue last minute. Could that like set a standard or a precedent for it happening again? I'm not so sure. Like, this seems like a pretty special or specific set of circumstances, but even still, it's very, very interesting to entertain. I didn't do that on purpose, I promise. And to close this out, I want to show like a few more pieces of evidence that Friend is more of, I don't know, hive mind flood type of enemy as opposed to one singular entity. Maybe it can form into something like the Grave Mind in Halo later on if they really come together, but more or less to say that there's a bunch of them. Like, you have the ERAM little minions that it sends out that you can stab easily and kill for easy heals. You have the Might game where there's a fucking ton of these things, like just flying all over these places in a spot where it doesn't seem like it should matter. And I think there being a bunch of these fucking guys just lurking in the shadows could explain why the iconography is everywhere, because as individuals, they're not really that rare. Like, sure, they're like hiding, but Pluie taking on the shape of one and being like a nice guy, you could say that's like still Toby Fox trying to play off of Chapter 2 era theories and having fun with it, but it could also act as an in-universe explanation for why the iconography doesn't freak out people in the world as much, and the fact that Mew Mew explicitly says that there's a whole hunting pack of them. Some people have speculated that the core master isn't just Gaster, it could be somebody like ERAM or whoever held the Shadow Mantle in that boss fight, but ultimately it is too soon for me to say, and I'm sure that somebody out there is going to have a banger theory that connects these points a lot more saliently than I am right now in my very gun-ho sort of way. For now though, I'm surprised we got new Deltarune stuff this fucking quick, man. Like, this is gonna be on fire by the time morning comes. Most people who would be interested in this by now are gonna be asleep to even see any of this shit, and I'm only awake by coincidence. Either way, be sure to follow me on Twitter at with a Y. That email's in the description if you guys want to send me any video topics. Be sure to subscribe and notifications on. Anyways, piss off.